Nixie, your work led me to learning about Steve Hassan's BITE model. For the benefit of the viewers who are not familiar with it, the BITE model is a list of several dozen practices that are typical of destructive cults. They are divided into 4 groups, those used to control behavior, information, thought, and emotions. Hence, BITE. I've been tempted to use the BITE model as a quantitative scorecard. Say a group that fits 30 criteria of the model is cultier than a group that fits 20. A group that fits only 5 is more likely than not to be benign. I've seen Owen at Telltale Atheist do something similar. Do you think this is a legitimate use of the model? If so, why so? If not, why not? Cool, Nick. Yeah, the BITE model is actually pretty good, and it can be used that way. And in fact, that's exactly as I'm being taught. That's kind of how models are used, and kind of what they're there for is to be able to do a sort of analysis. Now, the stressors with this, the thing that we always have to sort of put out there, are that context matters in every single point you're looking at, and it's not a rote thing, right? There is no formula for plug in these numbers and you got a cult. It's not quite like that. There's always a judgment factor. There's always context that can be applied, because I could make a case right now. I could easily just write down a checklist and check off all the boxes to convince you guys that a Catholic monastery or a Buddhist monastery, we're up in the mountains or something, isolated from the rest of the world, very, very difficult, rigorous physical labor and conditions that the monks go through, etc. I could easily make the case that that is a destructive cult. But it's not. But I could make the case that it is, right? Because there's a lot of similarities, and taken a little out of context, you can turn that into a really negative situation very, very quickly. Fact of the matter is that Catholic monasteries do everything they can to convince a person not to join before they do, and that automatically, it puts their informed consent and a number of other factors. But if we just sort of ignored that or sort of pushed that to the side, right, then, all the control mechanisms line up, and the rigorous lifestyle, and even abusive physical conditions, etc. So context always matters. And I don't imagine, Nick, that you're not familiar with this, but I'm trying to make the case here that these models are not simple Simon. You have to understand them. You have to understand all of the different parts of them and why they were put together the way that they were. Otherwise, you end up being a bit rote, and you can make mistakes, and you can misassess, and we don't want any of that. So it's only with those caveats that I'll say, absolutely, that's what the model is for. And you can do a quantitative type analysis like that, assign some numbers, lay it out that way if you want to, and nothing wrong with that. I'm pretty sure that's how Hassan meant it to be used, or one of the ways, that he meant it to be used in order to judge and assess a group. So with all those caveats, there you go.